And welcome to the Know Yourself Revolution. My name is Grace Gravestock, and today we are going to talk about what is the Know Yourself Revolution. I have been explaining it lately, and it occurred to me that there are probably people that don't understand, even though I've been talking about it for a couple of years now. So if you're new to my channel, or you're new to one of the Facebook groups, or maybe you're new to LinkedIn as a connection, you might have seen some of my videos, and this month I'm going live every day. So get to see a lot of me. And I'm intending to share value with you and help you to make change fun and easy, because here's the thing, we're all going through it. It's a lot of change. And today I want you to know that you're fully supported. And why do I say that? Because by being here, by showing up, you are identifying yourself as part of the Know Yourself Revolution, because the fact that you were drawn to this tells me that you're a frequency match for this mission and this movement. So what is this mission and what is this movement? And if you are joining us from, well, wherever you're joining us from, please put it in the comments. It'd be really interesting to know where you are today. So we have people all over the world that are part of the Know Yourself Revolution. It is a movement, and it's based on a vision that I had a few years back of a time when most of us will be living in alignment with our true nature, I'll say, or our design. Now, if that scared you when I said that, you're thinking like, oh no, what does that mean? What is true nature? Yep, I see a comment. Let me just see. Oh, Steve English. Hey, Steve. That's awesome. He is here in Austin, one of my good friends and a fellow public speaker. So thanks for being here, Stephen. We do have a lot of friends in Austin, and part of that is because Austin is the kind of place that attracts people who are drawn to this kind of a message. Why? Well, I have some theories about it. And if you have some theories too, I'd love to know. Put them in the comments on why you think certain kinds of people are drawn to Austin. I have come to the conclusion that because of the giant crystals that are underneath this whole area in the aquifer, that it sends out a certain frequency, a certain vibration, which is resonant for certain people. And so they like it and they get drawn here. And I don't know what it means in the long run, but it certainly is a thing that Austin people are a little bit different. And there's our slogan, Keep Austin Weird, right? Which is very similar to where I grew up in Santa Cruz, which is Keep Santa Cruz Weird. And I know that it's been adopted by other places. I used to work in Seattle, and there was a similar slogan there, Keep Seattle Weird, something like that. So I know we have people all over. And so why am I mentioning that slogan? Because it represents a way of looking at the world that acknowledges and appreciates the contribution of the individual. If you've been following any of my videos lately, you know that we did a big event a couple weeks ago called Your Incarnation Cross in the 2027 Prophecy, What You Need to Know. And the summary version of that is that we are going through a big shift. And according to human design originator Ra Uru Hu, who the founder of human design, there's a prophecy around this. And what it means is that there's a lot of things changing. I'm distracted by, I see Cassie. Cassie, thanks for joining us. I know that Cassie is joining us from South Africa, and she's got itchy feet to visit Austin. Yeah, it's a cool place, Cassie. I'm glad you're joining us from South Africa. So anyway, my point is we have people from all over that are part of this movement, the Know Yourself Revolution, which is based on a vision that I had several years ago about a time when we will be in the majority, people who are living in alignment with I'm going to say their design. It doesn't mean that most people are going to ever necessarily know human design. But here's what's interesting about the prophecy. The prophecy says that the background well, first of all, the prophecy says it references the fact that there are background frequencies. It's a thing. And it means that there's energetic patterns that kind of hold up humanity. And so those are changing, and they've been the same for about 410 years, and they're shifting to a new pattern. And that is going to favor individuation. I'm glad you're here, Cassie, because I'm going to play your video in a minute. So the Know Yourself Revolution is a movement to recognize those of you, if you're here, that are change makers, way showers. You might think of yourself as a star seed. Maybe these are new terms for you, but you are here because you chose to be here, and you're here for such a time as this to help prepare others for this shift that we're going through. Or maybe you're here to pick up the pieces. I don't mean that to scare you. It's just that things are about to get really interesting, and it's not because of necessarily some big dramatic thing. I mean, maybe there will be a dramatic thing, but the fact is the background frequencies are changing from what used to support us in being all the same, a background frequency that was really more about putting us all in a same box, to a new background frequency, which is all about individuation. And so that is part of the prophecy. There's some other pieces, and if you want to hear more about it, I have given a talk at an event last weekend, and I'm going to broadcast that on Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Central. So please tune in. It's you can see the link on all of my social media platforms. So check that out if you're interested. That was a really interesting group of people who are exactly this type. So they're like you. If you're watching right now, you're probably part of this Know Yourself Revolution. So what does it mean? It means that we are people everyone who's part of the Know Yourself Revolution. It's not a membership club. It's not you don't have to pay membership fees or dues or anything like that. But what it is it's a community, an informal community of like-minded people who have shared beliefs. So I wrote something that I call my manifesto, and for the Know Yourself Revolution, and I am going to try to share it with you now. And then I'm going to share with you in a minute. So stay tuned. I'm going to share with you some news of what this looks like in other parts of the world. We particularly have a person, Cassie Sprout, is in South Africa, and she has shared what is going on there. And I think it's a great representation of what's actually happening. So let me see if I can share this. Yep. Okay. So what I want you to see, whoops, it's not really the one I wanted you to see, but it's the right message. So let's see, make it full screen. Here we go. Okay, so what is the Know Yourself Revolution? This is the manifesto that I think represents the key tenets of what this is about. We choose to know, love, and trust ourselves. We practice self-care, and we choose to keep a high frequency. You practice self-care. Oh my gosh, I clearly did this late at night. I need to look at the details. This is an example of what someone who is an express builder might do. Like, they just get it done, and they're not concerned about perfection late at night. They just want to get it done. And then here we go. We see the errors now that we look at it. But anyway, we start with gratitude. Through frequency, collaboration, and alignment, we are creating a tipping point for humanity by positively impacting 5 billion people by 2025. Why 2025? I'm not sure. This is just what I got in my vision a few years back. And it actually started with 5 million people. But here's the funny thing, when counting, and I'm not even sure I want to explain to you how I count. But anyway, I've passed 5 million a long time. Why not go to 5 billion? So the idea is we want to create a tipping point, but we're doing it through frequency and alignment. So what this means is we lead by example. We choose to make change fun and easy. We believe life happens for us, not to us. And we work together. I always say the time of the single is over, and it means that it's time for us to do more collaboration and more co-creation. I hope you can still see me. I've had some tech issues today, so my computer setup is not what it usually is. Okay, and I see Cassie says 11 a.m. Excellent. Yes, you can see that on Saturday, Cassie. So anyway, the point is the Know Yourself Revolution is a movement of like-minded people. I believe in what we call family by choice, and that means that you get to choose who you want to consider your family, and you choose that based on who you want to be around. It's choice. It's not obligation anymore. These are what I call the rules of the new paradigm. And as a change agent, I am here to help us all, help me lead by example, help you let go of things that no longer serve you, things that are old and outdated, ways of working, ways of being. One of those ways of being is being really attached to our family by birth and feeling like we are limited by the family we were born into. And there's a lot of challenges a lot of people have with their family of birth. And all I'm here to say is that you don't have to be limited by that. And so I believe in something called family by choice. I mentioned it in one of the other lives. We tell our 7-year-old about this concept because he always wants to have a sibling, and he's not likely to have a sibling, at least not by blood. And so what does that mean for him? He can either be really disappointed or he can accept this idea, which he has, of family by choice. And so what it means is he is aware when he goes to the playground, when he meets people. We travel a lot, and he meets really cool people. Like this last weekend, he met a girl that was about his age, and they just fit together like two peas in a pod. And so I told him, she could be your sister. Like you wanted a sister, now you can have a sister, but it's a sister by choice. And so how long she's considered part of your family or how long you consider her your sister, it depends on what you guys choose. And you don't even have to tell her, but you can feel close and feel connected to another person and not be upset that you are not bonded by blood. We're moving into a time where we get to choose. Well, we have always been able to choose, but we're going to have even more freedom to choose because those background frequencies are changing. So they're changing from sameness to individuation. And so that is a perfect segue to show you what is happening in other parts of the world. So I'm going to share with you a little video that we have from Cassie, a recording that we did earlier this week. Which she is talking about the shifts that she's seeing in South Africa. So here it is, just a couple minutes long. Check this out. Is there anything you can share about what you're seeing in South Africa right now? And I'm talking about the shift. What is that?
It's happening on so many different levels. And I'm happy to talk about the energetic shifts which are happening. And it's not that subtle, actually. I was going to say a subtle energy wave, but it's not. We've got such a dark history in South Africa. And as a nation, there's so much remorse and guilt and anger and hatred. And that seems to be almost shifting. Instead of a mass cultural identity, there seems to be a shift to an individualization where people are going, what I do makes a difference. How I act every day makes a difference. And I'm choosing to help heal my country by my actions. But I don't think the majority of the people would be able to verbalize that. It's almost like there's just been this subtle growth of, I don't know if it's a maturing into understanding how, as individuals, we can have an impact in a positive and negative way, depending on our choice. And it seems to be that people are stepping up into a more mature version of themselves in order to create a greater positive impact. And that's across the board, which is quite interesting. And I don't know, you can actually see it bizarre. If you look, you can see it in supermarkets or shopping malls, how people are starting to interact with each other.
How is it different? What do you mean?
There's slightly, it's so hard to pinpoint. There is a greater sense of self in the individual, yet that is portrayed by an openness towards the other, whereas there was a lot of reticence and an inability to interact with people easily. And you see it now, people are smiling at each other, helping each other, and just seeing each other as individuals and being willing to go, oh, hello, I see you, and smile. And that, it's hard to describe to someone who hasn't been in a country where people don't talk to each other because of religion or race or skin tone. And now to be able to smile at someone and go, oh, I love your kid's outfit, it's so cute, whoa, and actually end up having a conversation. It's fantastic. And everyone's going, this is my truth, this is what I believe, and I'm going to live it out loud. So that's one thing. The other thing is the economy, which I'm not even going to go into because that could like last for an hour. But there's a step away from relying on structure. There's a huge burst in entrepreneurial spirit, a huge burst in people doing it for themselves and going, yeah, our economy's bad, the exchange rate's shocking, I don't care, I'm going to do it anyway because this is what I want to do. And we come from a very Calvinistic, very indoctrinated society where we like, oh, we'll do what we told. Literally, it took me, and as an example, it took me 35 years to be able to walk on grass in a public space because we grow up with, you don't walk on the grass. You do not, no. At school, you get punished, you get detention if you walk on the grass. And now I look around and people are having picnics on the grass. It's like, yay!
Wow.
So it's very exciting. I think we're going to have a explosive shift, which is going to be uncomfortable, but manageable. And the other side is going to be astounding. That's just my own personal point of view.
Isn't that fascinating? So I'm curious what you're seeing. That was Cassie Sprout in South Africa talking about the changes that she's seeing in these energetic shifts that are already happening. They're moving us from sameness to individuation. And this is why it is time for the Know Yourself Revolution to feel supported in you being you, to know that you're part of a group of people who trust in their own internal guidance system and know what that is. And if you don't know what your own internal guidance system is or what that means, I invite you to get your free chart at whatsmychart.com. It does have a section at the bottom that talks about your decision-making strategy. And so this is how you make decisions. This is what's correct for you. And you might think that yours is going to look the same as everyone else. It's not. There's quite a few different variations. I can't remember the number. I don't have it, had it in front of me a while ago. But there's quite a few different variations. I mean, 50% of people they're meant to make decisions based on their emotions. Yes, I know it's different than what we've been taught. But you actually, and it's true that it can be really dangerous, because if you don't know how to make decisions when you're on your emotional wave, it can be very dangerous, and you can definitely make decisions that are not correct for you. So you need to understand how to use your social decision-making strategy. But this is what you can find out more about at whatsmychart.com. So I encourage you to check it out, because it's a key tenet of the Know Yourself Revolution, where we envision a time which is coming and is already here to some extent, where people are starting to wake up and recognize that the things that they thought they knew about themselves are not actually true. I'll tell you a quick example from my own life. I grew up as a lifetime vegetarian. And I grew up in a family of vegetarians. I ended up marrying somebody who was vegetarian. I went to a school that the cafeteria was vegetarian. My life was pretty comfortably vegetarian, and most of the people that I hung out with ate vegetarian food. This is an example of a sameness, this pattern that I was just talking about. And then my life shifted about 7 years ago, when all of this started. The vision for Know Yourself Revolution came right after that. But the point is that shift for me towards individuation happened, and I started learning different things about food, different things than I had ever heard before. I mean, I thought that I knew a lot about health. I had healed myself of skin cancer. I rebuilt my digestive system, and I rebuilt my immune system. And that took a long time. It took a couple of years, and it was an intensive process. And I did it on my own. I mean, without the help of doctors. I used food as medicine and herbs. And I learned a lot in the process about what I thought was correct for humans to eat. And I thought that I knew a lot about health. But recently, like in the last couple of months, and even especially last night, I had another conversation with my good friend, Maya. Oh, hey, Ray. Ray Swats is joining us from Denton, Texas. Hello. Thanks for joining us, Ray. That's awesome that you're here. We have people all over. So you have family by choice everywhere. Thank you, Ray, for joining us. So what I want you to get out of this is this. I started learning about the carnivore diet, for instance, and the thought of eating so much meat and fat was just initially so repulsive to me. I couldn't even stand the thought, because I didn't grow up eating meat. I didn't grow up eating fish. And just the thought of it was just really difficult for me to. In fact, I used to joke when I was younger that there might come a time when I would maybe starve to death because I wouldn't be able to eat meat, and maybe that would be the only option. I mean, that's how extreme I was. And I thought that that was right. I thought that was correct. And I thought everybody, well, not everybody should be vegetarian, but I mean, I definitely thought it was one of the best choices. But now I have a lot of friends who have different ideas about food. I met Palm Reader, a master in India, from India, that was a pulse reader, of a bunch of years ago. And he read my palm, or read my pulse, and he said, you should not be eating raw food. I was a raw food vegan at that time. And he said, you should cook all your food. And as I was healing myself of skin cancer, I studied under a naturopath at the Price Pottinger Nutrition Foundation in San Diego. And he was trying to get me to eat meat and bone broth and raw dairy and things like this. And I was just, it was such a big shock for me. And it was a big step for me to start eating. I mean, even then I couldn't even eat bone broth, but I started eating raw dairy, and I started eating some cooked food. I mean, that's how extreme I was. But then recently I've been learning about how important the carnivore diet is, and all these, like, thousands, if you look them up, thousands and thousands and thousands of testimonials about people healing themselves of all kinds of things by eating meat. Of course, healthy meat, the best quality that you can find. But the point is, what if everything you thought about yourself was wrong or misguided or different? And so the whole idea of Know Yourself Revolution is really stepping into who you really are, learning how to use the superpowers that you have, which you can find out about when you look at your chart. Go to whatsmychart.com if you haven't got yours yet. But it's so fascinating. For so many years, I thought that I knew the right answer. I really studied hard. I worked with smart people. I took pride in the fact that I read so much and I knew so much. And I remember a pivotal conversation with my family, because I'm the oldest of 5. And so I went home for a family event one time, and my sisters, so I was trying to give advice, and I was probably came across as a know-it-all. I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm such a different person now. But anyway, one of my sisters was kind of irritable with me, and she said, you know what? If you ever had anything that any of us wanted, we would listen to you, but like, you don't. And it kind of hurt my feelings at the time, because I thought, I'm the only one here who, has a new car and a new house and, whatever, a good job, those kinds of things. And that's how I measured success. And so I was kind of shocked that she said that. And I thought, whoa, well, if you don't want my advice, then okay. I mean, it was kind of a slap in the face. But my point is, I thought I knew what was right, and I thought that I knew what was best for my family and other people. But the fact is, I didn't know anything. And so what I've realized, and I'm kind of embarrassed to admit that, but what I've realized is that the more that I learn, the more I realize I don't know. And the more I've learned about how we're configured, the more I realize that so many of the things that most of us believe about ourselves are actually not even true. In terms of like, let's take a simple thing like how to make decisions. Most of us have been told that we need to make decisions from our thinking mind, right? And that we need to make sure it makes sense and it's logical. But actually, according to human design, there's so many other ways that we are meant to make decisions, and they're not based on the mind at all. They're based on the body and the sensors that are in the body. And so the sensors that you have that help you make the best decision for you are different than the sensors I have, probably. And by the way, they're on your free report at whatsmychart.com. But my point is, what if everything that you thought you knew was wrong or different than what you thought it was? And so this is what I believe more and more people will be stepping into, this realization as we move forward, because there's things coming out. There's more truth. We're coming into more of a time of transparency. I mean, I know this might sound like a pipe dream to you. And I certainly know that there have been people that have been saying this for a long time, but I'm seeing it in my life. I'm seeing it in my own choices. Like I mentioned with food, like I'm realizing that everything I thought I knew about what's healthy and eating lots of vegetables, and I just got a bunch of stuff to juice. I'm going to juice this weekend. But when I was talking to my health coach friend, and she's on 100%, not keto, but carnivore diet. And the carnivore diet was what really healed her son, who was really sick. And she tried everything she knew on him, and it didn't work. And finally, he learned about this carnivore diet and tried it. And I'm not trying to push a diet. What I'm trying to say is that what if the things you thought were true about yourself and about the way the world works were really different than how it really works, or what's really true? And that's what the Know Yourself Revolution is about. It's about more and more people stepping into the truth of who they are, the truth of who you are. As you learn more about how you're configured and how you're meant to make decisions, you're going to save yourself time, so much time and so much money and so much hassle and pain and heartache. Because just think back to just one really bad mistake that you made or bad decision. Now, first of all, I'd be the first one to say not that it didn't happen to you, it happened for you. So there's a lesson there. And if you wanted to get a reading, we could talk about what that means in your chart. There's all the lessons are in the chart, by the way. I'm going to put my link up. Here we go. Yeah. If you're interested in finding out what you're hardwired for, schedule time for a basic reading. It's just a good way to know for sure. But anyway, what I'm saying is the Know Yourself Revolution is meant to be like a catcher's mitt for all of us as we step more fully into who we are. We understand our superpowers. We step into our psychic gifts. In many cases, we actually all have certain gifts that some people might consider psychic or extra, extra, not extraterrestrial, but I don't know, extra. I'll say extra. There's lots of gifts, and they're in your chart. Like I can tell you if you're an empath, or if you have the chart, you have the configuration of a medical intuit, if you have the configuration of being able to read minds, and there's so many other things. And we all, no matter how you're configured, have certain superpowers. And I would love to show you yours. But my point is, you might have been living all this time under the impression that you thought you knew how you were meant to function. You probably thought you knew how you were meant to live. But what if there was new information that came out that made you rethink everything? Just like I'm rethinking my diet, and I'm thinking, wow, what if I was wrong all those years about being a vegetarian? And what if it's true what I'm kind of getting from my research that if I want to be truly healthy, I need to supplement my diet with minerals that can only be picked up through animal products. Of course, healthy products. Of course, I'm going to go for grass-fed and not free range, pastured eggs and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I say do whatever is best for you. I'm not trying to push a particular dogma or way. What I'm trying to say is I'm going through this right now. I'm leading by example, and I'm sharing with you how my world is being turned upside down just in terms of diet. And that's not the only thing. Like, as we move forward into these greater cycles of faster change that I'll talk about more on Saturday. If you tune in to that talk, it's only 20 minutes. But the point is, be ready for more change. Be ready for some new information about who you are. And if you're open to it, I would love to help you on this journey. I want you to know that there's a community of people around the world that are here to support you as family by choice. We have a Facebook group, Know Yourself Revolution. Go to Facebook and Facebook groups if you're in Facebook, and join the group. You don't have to answer any membership questions. I did this, strategically. This is probably against all the good Facebook group rules, of building a Facebook group. I don't have any requirements on it. And the reason is because I want it to be by choice, not obligation. And I want people to feel free to pop in and to participate. So it's an experiment, I'll be honest. But I want you to know that you have people around the world who are like you. Oh, thanks, Ray. Ray says, I believe extrasensory is what you were looking for. Yes, I was thinking of ESP. Thanks, Ray. Yeah, ESP and some of the other gifts. There's actually 9 clairs, and I can show you in your chart which ones that you have consistent access to. And then the other ones, we all have them. I mean, that's what's so fascinating. We all have these gifts, but most of us don't even know we have them, and we don't even know how to use them. So, I mean, this is what I'm here to help you for. If you want to know more, schedule a basic reading, and we'll just get into the superpowers that you have, and you can ask your questions and find out. But here's the thing, you're probably not exactly who you think you are. There's probably a lot about yourself that you don't really know. And if you look at your configuration, it's not about me telling you who you are. I can tell you how you're configured, and then you do what's called the experiment, which is you experiment with the information in your life to see that it works or it's correct for you or not. Because it doesn't matter what I say or what anyone else says. What matters is when you see it in your life and it's practical for you. And that is when your world shifts and you realize, oh my gosh, I am so much more than what I thought. I have so many other gifts, more than I was told, more than I realized. And oh my gosh, there's nothing about me that's broken after all. I'm perfect the way I am, perfectly designed to be and doing what I came here to be and do. Because if you feel a calling on your life and you feel that you have a mission here, you do. And if you don't know what it is, let me help you. You can look at it through human design. I mean, there's other ways to find it, but this is the best way that I've found. And I'm telling you, I feel like a sore thumb at some of these events, like this astrology event that I went to this last week, and I didn't feel like I fit in. Like, I'm a corporate person, and I come from, all these big corporate projects, and I'm at these events with people who are really into astrology, and I have a lot of respect for astrology, and I've learned a lot from it, but I don't come from that world, and I feel like I don't fit in. And so that very sense of not fitting in is part of this amazing woman that I met there. She had some really wise words for me. She said, the reason that you don't fit in is because you really don't fit in. You do have a corporate background and you're not like most of the people here. But she said, the reason that it's important that you're here is because with your background, you bring credibility to these arts and to this information that a lot of people don't recognize. And in fact, I had a call with somebody in my professional network earlier today, and we're LinkedIn friends, and he's looking for a job. And I was, he asked what I'm doing. So I shared with him a little bit about my work with human design. But as soon as I told him that it's based on your date of birth, time of birth, and city of birth, I could tell that he just discounted everything that I had to say, because we're taught that's not for me. That's just a bunch of weird esoteric stuff. I mean, that's how I was. And certainly growing up in a Christian church, I was told that's the work of the devil, and it's evil, but it's not. Like, I have studied it, and I know it's given me clarity about who I really am. It's helped me to see the reason why all these, what otherwise I might think are really crazy things, have happened to me, and what the benefit is to me, because I've learned a lot from it. And so what I like about this whole idea is that it really shows you the lessons you're here to learn and what you're here to master. And you don't have to believe it at first glance. Like, I certainly was very skeptical. In fact, it was the third time when I listened to my human design reading, when I got it the first time, that I got the bing, 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 like the message. And that was a really surprising thing, because I discounted it too when I found out it was like based on, these esoteric systems. Okay, they've been around for thousands of years and they've helped millions of people, but they weren't part of my world and I didn't understand them. So therefore they didn't exist, and I didn't give them any credence, and I didn't think they had any credibility. But what I came to find out when I looked further is, oh my gosh, it made so much sense. And it helped me to see, that I'm not broken after all. Like I said, perfect the way I am, perfectly here, perfectly designed to be and do what I'm here to be and do. And so are you. And that's the good news. So if you feel like you don't fit in, if you're wondering why your whole world is shifting, if you're wondering what else are you going to find out that's different than what you thought, 7 years ago, when I thought I had everything going for me with a great job and a brand new car and a new house, then all of a sudden my ex-husband put a knife to my neck and I had to leave in a hurry. Like, my whole world just shifted in a really short period of time. I didn't plan that. A lot of physical pain with headaches, there's just a lot of stuff. So for a while, I thought of myself as a victim, like, poor me, like, why did I have to go through this? But what I learned is that there's a reason for all of it. And it's, guess what, in your chart. And so the whole idea that there could be a chart for you that would show you that kind of stuff, it raises a lot of other questions, which probably make you question some other things that you've been taught. And so I recognize that this is very heretical. I gave a talk to the Job Club today, by the way. I don't know if anyone's here from that, but I did preface everything with, look, I have a little bit of a heretical perspective, and you're going to hear about some different approaches to job searching than what you've heard about before. And it's true, at the end, there were surprisingly quite a few people that really liked what I had to say, but several people did say, wow, you really do have a different perspective. And I've never heard anything like that. Like, who would have thought of doing a gratitude journal to get a job? But I'm telling you what, it really worked. It worked for my ex-husband, who hadn't worked in like 15 years, and he got his dream job after a month and a half. Here's where it is if you want it, by the way, kyr.life/manifest. It's my 2-step gratitude manifestation process. Yeah, I mean, he got his dream job after a month and a half, even though he hadn't worked in all those years. He was so surprised about it that he didn't tell me for a couple of days, because he thought he was on candid camera. He had to be, because like, how in the world could he otherwise have got that job? So amazing things have happened, both for me and for my clients who use this process. So I'm telling you, if you're looking for a way to have something different and more than you have right now, this is an amazing tool. So anyway, quick recap, Know Yourself Revolution. What is it? It is a movement. It is for you if you are ready to know, love, and trust yourself, or if you're a healer, coach, or teacher, or professional who helps other people know, love, and trust themselves. So as you may or may not know, I interview people on my show. We have periodic live and pre-recorded events. We also have a podcast. So you can go to Grace Gravestock YouTube podcast, and you can see some of the podcast episodes. You can also go to looking to see if I have it here in a card. You can go to knowyourselfrevolution.com and you will see our last event. It was amazing. It was really well received. We had, I think, 12 speakers over the course of the day, 10 hours. Amazing content. A lot of people have told me that they found it just riveting. So if you're interested in knowing more about what this movement is about, you can go there and it'll give you a sense. And you'll also get on our mailing list, so you'll find out about our next events. So that's what I have to share with you. Thanks again for joining us. We do have friends who are with us from around the world. We've got people from Austin, from Denton, Texas, and from South Africa tonight. And wherever you're from, if you're watching the replay, please put #replay and in the, you know, where you're watching it. That gives me some indication about people that are watching it later. And I'm going to try to put the links too in the comments in case it's helpful. Somebody recommended that yesterday. So anyway, I hope it was helpful. I don't hope. Hope is useless. Why do I say that? Because hope, if we say we hope about something or we hope for something, it takes us out of our power because it's beyond our scope, beyond our ability. But if we say, I trust that you found value, I trust that you got what you needed, it's much more empowering. So I'm all about empowering you to know, love, and trust yourself and to stand in your power. Stop giving it up. Stop giving it away, as I was for so many years. There's no reason to give it away when you are worthy and you are valuable just the way you are, not because of what you do, not because of the job you hold or the job title or how much money you have, but simply because you exist. You are valuable and you play an important part in the Know Yourself Revolution. The fact that you're here tells me that you are energetically aligned, and it is together through collaboration, frequency, and alignment that we can positively impact 5 billion people by 2025. That's the end of next year, to create a tipping point for humanity. You're part of something much bigger than you. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for your agreement. Thank you for your support. And please let me know how I can support you. And let me put that one more time in the bottom if you want to schedule time. Oh, it's already there. Okay. And you can get my two-step process for free at kyr.life/manifest. So that's it. I've promised to go live every day the month of April. So I guess I'm not going to get a break this weekend. I will see you tomorrow. I'm experimenting with different times. So let me know if you have any thoughts about timing. Otherwise, I'm doing what works for me. So thanks again for being here. Appreciate your support. Appreciate your participation. And I'll see you tomorrow.